Hello everyone, welcome to MindQuest. This is my first video podcast. And it's just like every other podcast. I'm here to speak about my experiences and the things I have learned. Hopefully, I wish to share them with you. Hope that someone somewhere in the world watching this will find or will get the idea to find the solutions to the problems in their life. That's how I can, start this podcast. Coming to what things I have learned in my life. I have been into the technology and science background. I mean, how should I put it? Into the science background. Yeah, we can call it science. All sciences include maths, physics, and biology as well. But I'm kind of into engineering. So there was a little bit a kind of debate in our class at the early, during the first year. So there was a debate sparked in our class. Mostly, it was a teacher. We just had a free class and a free time. So there was a substitution teacher and he made a very posing question asking us, okay, you all are engineering students now, so can you understand or can you define, or he even said that, do you guys know the difference between the science and the technology? So the point that actually made us scratch our heads. We were even thinking we were giving many other answers, and he was also trying his level best to make us understand what actually the difference, or what actually is the accepted definition for difference between science and technology should be. But this question was there, even that day passed by, that class happened there, and we moved on to the next class. But still to this day, I question myself as an engineer and as a learner. Like, I like learning about things, about natural phenomena, about many things, basically the physical things which influence our life directly or indirectly. I kind of try and understand them. And I think as an engineer, that was our job. So as an engineer, that's my job, to understand what exactly the stuff is happening around myself, or whatever happens around me. I should be able to see it, and I should be able to understand it and document it in such a way that I can explain it to other people. So the main thing where I sat down and thought was like, after the fourth year or so, thinking about science and technology, even though in the class we got a clear cut understanding on what science and technology is. The example of lightning, we see the lightning strikes somewhere from on top of the sky, and when it strikes, we do see that there is a bright beam of light which is coming down onto the earth, and wherever it is hitting, it's either causing fire or something to melt down there. If it's a tree, the tree will catch a fire after the lightning hits. To explain this to other people, or to explain this to fellow engineers, we can say that there is an immense surge of energy from on top of the clouds, and it is hitting the earth, where it is getting earthed, and wherever if there is a tree in its path, it's also getting incinerated in the process. And if we go into the technical terminology, because we have been experimenting with electricity from a long time, I don't quite exactly know how long it has been, but from the time of Edison and Tesla, they pretty much knew what electricity is and how to understand it. However, they did have a debate, they did have a fight over which kind of electricity is better. Even though this is that's what I'm trying to say. Like, we are, as a human race, we are progressing, and when we start to question our own progress, or when when we start to question how did we get to this point, that kind of makes us understand the whole journey which we have been through. I mean, I am just here in 2025, trying to understand the nature as its true form. I mean, the true form of the nature. But even though first it all begins with we understanding what its physical form is and interactable form is. Like, I can take a tree for example. I can watch a tree, I can touch it. I can, if I have an axe, I can chop it off. I can chop that whole log of tree into small woods, and I can interact that wood. I can make either firewood out of it, or I can make some toy out of it. I can make a handle to a pan out of it. We have to think about many things and how we can bring that change into the shape, or how we can shape that wood into something, and make some art out of it. I can make a guitar out of it, anything. It's completely up to our brain how we perceive it. So when we go to the fundamental meaning of science and technology, there was even to this date, I even think to myself when I explain there is a lightning strike coming up from the sky and hitting anywhere, anything, an electric pole or anything which is on a higher length to it. So it's basically the electricity is getting discharged, and this is in engineering terms. That's what we call as discharged, or just like you can understand it like this: if you have a smartphone, your smartphone's battery is on 100%, and it slowly gets down to 1%, and then your smartphone switches off. And then when you plug in the charger, it goes down. The It starts charging. So when we say that this is getting discharged, I mean, when you plug in the charger, it says it's charging. So that's the thing. It's very simple to understand. When you are trying to charge the battery, you're trying to supply some electricity to it so that you can use the phone for a longer time. If we did not have batteries, we'll have to use the phones plugged into the socket every time. That's kind of the thing. I mean, if we won't have batteries, we won't have phones itself. So, in engineering terms, we can say that there was a tremendous discharge, and yeah, why am I using tremendous discharge of energy? Because that voltage of the electricity which is falling down from sky to earth is too high for it to jump the gap between the clouds and the earth. So it's like kilometers of distance, and it's jumping that distance to get discharged. Or it's kind of, when we make the definition even more elaborate, it's kind of entropy. So things in universe will get unstable at some point of time. And when I use the word excited, I mean that they try to change from their natural existence. Or take water for example. If you put water into the refrigerator or the fridge, in the freezer, it will freeze into ice. And if you take that out, it will turn into water. If you heat it, it will turn into steam. So there are three states of water. It's just the same water which we drink every day, but it can exist in three different states in three different temperature points. Right. If you take Celsius scale, for example, the water will go back to ice below 4 degrees, or below 16 degrees. It will start becoming an ice. And at some point at like 27 degrees or 30 degrees, not even 27, at 20 to 21 degrees, it will start, it will be in a state of water. It will be like a water. And if you boil it up to 100 degrees, it will become a steam. So see how we can understand science and technology. Like, what is the difference between the science, or when we say uh, this is the science and this is the technology, we are observing the natural phenomena, right? Our understanding on that, we call it science. Okay. This is pretty much how we can explain it. Our understanding of natural phenomena in the simplest forms, in the simplest terms used, and make it as simple as possible. We'll make it as simple as possible and try to define it. And our understanding on that is what we can call as science. And after that, when we come to technology, technology is basically the application of the science. Coming to technology, technology is basically our way of understanding science and applying it into something we think, or we have, which which we can make it work. I can give an example for this one as well, but it will make the thing even longer for me to explain it. But surely this thing is the best possible explanation we can reach to upon this point. At the moment, we had the understanding, or a small debate within our classmates and friends regarding that. And to this day, I am even trying to figure out what science is and what technology is. And when I say what science is and what technology is, I am aiming to understand the true nature of science, or the true nature of this planet. And there are many things which we haven't experienced or experimented on yet. It's like asking a question to someone, or there is someone sitting there. Okay, hi. how are you, introducing yourself. But if it does have a consciousness, surely. If it doesn't have, then the kind of approach human beings have stuck to till now, which from my observation as of now is like breaking into the thing. It's like whatever thing it is, if it's a rock, try and break it into pieces, and you'll eventually find what its core is. And everything which you find in this universe is breakable. Some things are really hard to break, so we make a better, or we make stronger tools to help us break those things apart and learn about them. I wouldn't say that this is the best kind of thing to learn about them, but somewhere, somehow, I mean, not somehow, but somewhere there is a little thought in my mind which says someday a person will find a better way to understand everything which happens around us, the science of everything. And truly, when we try and understand about the science behind everything, or the science, or the true nature of things, I mean the true nature of the material existence of this world, we will develop more and better technology which will help us gain a higher pedestal in life and understand things with a different perspective. And I think that's what we have been doing 20 or 30 years till now. Uh, we are trying to replenish and learn more and more about the world, think about whatever we have learned, and experiment and make that thing, or turn that thing into a reality that brought us to where we are right now. I still feel that we as human beings could have done even better things, even greater things than that. But yeah, there is a but after everything I say, because there are certain gray areas which are better untouched. Like, I can give you an example of lava flowing out of a lava mountain. So if there is a explosion inside a active volcano and you're going nearby it, so a lava, something molten rock which is flowing outside, is not something which you generally can interact using your hands or using any machinery. Hopefully, you can do that using material or a tool made up of a metal which has high temperature resistance. Compared to what I learned till now, I have observed that wherever we are trying to implement new solutions there, or try make something new out of something, then we are implementing our knowledge on the science and on top of the technology. And the way the technology, or the way any technology is being developed, it is mostly influenced by how we learn science, or the way we capture science to be, or how we understand it to be. And the way we understand this, or the working of this science, the technology completely depends on that. And we also can reach some gray areas where we won't do a certain thing, like doing something, or trying to do an experiment with anything, with the technology which we have, or with the knowledge we have on technology. If we are trying to experiment on it and something doesn't work, something goes wrong, and sometimes if it's not working, and we are not getting the right or the desired result which we are supposed to get, when we are not getting such a result, we usually call that a failure and move on with the experiment. Or I heard this somewhere in some video said by a scientist. He said that please do not be afraid of failing in any experiment which you perform, because by failing an experiment you are proving that the hypothesis which was taken to prove that as a theory, or to prove that to be right in the existence, is wrong, or that approach is wrong. So let's say I come up with a hypothetical statement that I can make anything with any kind of geometry float on top of water. We all know we can't make anything on top of the water, because till now we have seen many ships going on to top of the water, many boats, speed boats, and we even played with paper boats in our childhood. And that kind of made us understand what shape of the material needs to be to float on the water. Okay, and not everything is in that shape, and a lot of factors affect floating on water, or to make a thing or any body float on water. So this is also kind of understanding on the science behind everything, science behind there is a lot of stuff which is crumpled or coupled inside when I'm trying to explain this to you. But to make things even more easier, I could say that you do this, okay, you do something, and something happens as a consequence for the first action. Okay, like the third law of Newton, like when he observed and he wrote a law, and that we still use in physics, which we say this is the third law of Newton. There is an equivalent and opposite reaction for every action which is performed. So if you are sitting on a boat, if you jump to the land, the boat will move a little backwards into the sea. This is an example. Or, if you blow a balloon and leave it like that, it will start flowing here and there, and it will go away. You see, rockets use the same principle, action and reaction. See, the balloon flows here and there. I mean, the balloon like starts flying here and there because the flight is not regulated, or the way it flies is not regulated. But the air which is pressurized inside that balloon, it's being let out from one single area, and the reason why it's flowing, I mean, the reason why it's flying at that speed is because the pressure inside the balloon is more than the pressure on the of the atmosphere around it. Like I mentioned previously, that whenever there is chaos in a system, or whenever there is a chaos, then it tries to go to the part which is less chaotic. Just like high pressure to low pressure. If you have a pressure cooker, there is a lot of stuff, I mean, lot of pressure in it. Okay, it will let out steam from the whistle or the cap, and when the steam is blowing out of the pressure head of the pressure cooker, then you'll get to see a lot of steam flowing out. And when you think about it, when you sit down and think, why is this happening? What is the reason? The pressure in the cooker is too much. It's more than the atmosphere. So there is a higher pressure inside the pressure cooker. That's why the air is exiting out of the pressure head's nozzle. And when it heads out of it, we are able to see that it's pushing out or gushing out some kind of gas or steam out of it. There is a high pressure inside the pressure cooker. It will escape to places where there is a low pressure, and that's how things work. Same with the aeroplane. When an aeroplane is flying, in simple terms, there is high pressure wind underneath the wing and low pressure wind on top of the wing. That's why the higher pressure tries putting some force on the surface of the wing, so the wing takes on something, and this force is what responsible for your airplane to fly. And when we try and understand each and every little concept, everything which is going around our world, it's more intriguing, or it's more, the more you learn, the more curious your mind gets. And that's actually a good thing, because we should give our mind a chance to understand the things. Or even from, you have completed school, you have completed your intermediate, you have completed your college, and now at some point you're thinking that, okay, I have learned everything in my life and there is no need for any revision in particular of learning, or any anything. I don't need to learn anything because I'm quite a learned man or learned women. I think that at this point we should try and give ourselves a second chance relearning things. And it's just like watching a movie, I would say. Yeah, it's just like watching a movie. So when you watched a movie, like any movie, you can take any movie as an example. For the first time, it will be your first experience watching that movie, so you'll just focus on the story. And if the person who is making the movie, or the team which is making the movie, have put a lot of effort into adding little details into it, you might not be able to catch each and every detail in the plot inside the set of the movie or the story. And at the first attempt, I mean, at the first screening of the movie, once you have seen it for the first time, you will want to see it for the second time, because the impact it creates inside your mind, you'll have, or you'll feel like, if it is a movie which you like, or if the movie has the content which you like, you will give it another chance, or you'll give it another try to see the movie again. Okay, and you'll pay for the ticket and go inside and see. And this time when you watch for the second time, you'll not watch it the same way you did for the first time, so there will be a little bit difference. And yeah, for the second time you'll only focus upon the scenes which you have the most interest in. And if you have watched that movie 5 years or 6 years ago, and now you're bouncing back to the movie again, and now you're thinking, okay, I have already watched the movie, I remember a major lot of the scenes of the movie, how things happen in it. Now you sit down to watch the same movie again, it will not be the experience which you will have now, will not be the same as the experience which you had 7 years back or 10 years back, whichever movie you have watched. So I think relearning is just like that. If you're learning about Newton's third law, or you're learning about energy, you're learning when we are trying to understand science, or we are giving a basic level or a normal definition to that. uh, we are trying to define everything. Why does the light shine? Why does the water move on the ocean the way it is moving, right? So there are independent theories, there are many things which we come up with, and we are saying that okay, this is a reason why it's happening, and that is a reason why that's happening. So there is an explanation which we make a note of, and whoever comes up with the explanation deserves that credit for that, for explaining. And we have many people who have given their names for it, and that's how the names came, no? Newton's first law, second law, third law. And we have Pauli's exclusion principle, because it was Pauli. And Max Planck, Einstein's general theory of relativity. So we are adding the names of the scientists or the physicists who came up with the idea or tried proving that idea, and they understood the science, and they made us understand afterwards. Okay, even though like I'm not very much proficient into mathematics, I'm not that much into mathematics, I still think that mathematics is the language of universe, and it is the best way we can understand everything which is going around us. However, we have not reached that point where we can understand science to its true nature. I would say, because if we if we understood everything, if there is like a theory of everything, okay, like one theory, one for all, one theory to understand everything which happens on this planet, or even beyond this planet, we will also be able to explain anomalies as well. So the problem which we are facing right now is, we are, with the understanding we have on science, we are not able to give a proper definition, or explain or understand or develop an understanding on what exactly science is, or what kind of technology we are trying to make. So basing on what I observed is, people who develop technology have certain attachments with certain kinds of things, and this technology which is developed will have some free access and restricted access, and to gain access you will have to do certain things. And for the free access things, you will be able to do certain things. Sometimes certain things might give you the right kind of output you were expecting from it. Sometimes some things might not give you the right kind of output, and you might get very disappointed, and very detached from the thing. Let's say airplanes. We have seen many kinds of airplanes which are used for many different things. For from passengers, they carry passengers, commercial aircrafts, to charter flights, airplanes or aircrafts which are used for military, and which are used for space exploration. Every other machinery which or every other thing, every technology which we as human beings have developed, has one or many kinds or many types of purposes hidden behind them. So if I need to go from point A to point B on the surface of Earth, I'll use either a car or a bus or a motorcycle. See, we have many options depending upon what kind of travel I wish to choose. So everything has a everything has a different application. I can travel 10 kilometers with a bike. I can travel 10 kilometers with a car. I can travel the same 10 kilometers with a train or a metro, or in a bus, or in some other vehicle. You name it. It's completely up to you. The same thing could be done with different things. Okay. If the distance increases and the path increases, to minimize the time traveled, I am inventing new solutions. So now we have trains. because with if I use cars, I'll have to if I use car or a motorcycle, I'll have to stick to a path which is engineered as per the terrain, and I'll have to follow that. And hopefully after some time I'll reach that destination. If the distance increases, like if I have to travel 100 kilometers, 100 kilometers we can travel using a bike, but that might not be that good of an experience for me as a human being, and for my body as well. Yeah, as a person I like riding, but I'm not that much into motorcycles. But yeah, I just drive old motorcycle of my dad, and yeah, it pretty much does all the stuff for me. But that's how things work for me, at the very least. But I do not wish to make fun or show someone that they are something a different kind of person, because I am that person. I mean, I am like you, just like you, and I'm trying to figure things out on my own and learn from other people's. Yeah, not everything comes to you in a golden platter to eat. You will have to pluck it from the tree, cut it into bite sizes, and eat it yourself. You will have to do the cutting sometimes. Sometimes some other person might cut it for you so that you can peacefully sit down and eat. I think that technology can be improved, and how to improve that will depend upon the kinds of attachments other human beings have with the technology. Today every person or an average person might not have the same kind of interest in developing a technology, because it's a lot of work. I do understand that it is a lot of work. That is what makes the technology, or the entire process of making it more interesting, because if it is very easily made, then there is no thought process into it, or there is no thought process put into it. Not against again I'm not against anything which is made easy, but I do not believe in things like things could be achieved very easily. Even if you have to make a toy like a Lego, there is a lot of stuff which you will have to think about and carefully plan and design and then make. So even the simplest to simplest things like a ring which we wear on our hand, even that requires a lot of time to make and a lot of planning to make. In the time when I was trying to educate myself, and yeah, where I also was receiving education from my teachers about what exactly are we trying to do using engineering, or basically, since I'm from an engineering background, and I at this point of time do think that I have some kind of knowledge on engineering in general, and also what kind of things I am doing. If I'm an engineer, I build stuff, right? So if you are an engineer, you build stuff. If you're a doctor, you try to heal people, or make people better, heal them, or make new methods of healing. If you are a teacher, you educate people. If you are, I mean, there is a purpose, and that's how we have created, and that's how we have created stuff, and we have made sure that there are multiple different jobs for every other person, and these jobs contribute to society in a positive manner, in an educational that's how stuff works. Yeah, see, and lawyer, there are lawyers who help people defend themselves if there is some kind of problem. There are law enforcers like police who try and make sure that all the people are abiding by the law, and there are lawmakers who think that this is best thing for our society. They all group of people who sit down at one place and say make decisions on what kind of law should be passed down so that it would be helpful for the people, or what law could be passed down so that it could be helpful for one kind of people and the other kind. I can We can also call that a different kind of technology, another kind of technology, to be precise, because it is a product of our own understanding of the physical world, how it works. So we came up with different stuff which we are making or writing or providing to other people, and we are making sure that this whatever we are giving out, it is being heard, it is being followed, it is being understood by other people. And when the people understand, they if it is in their interest, they will try and follow whatever is there, or they'll try and understand or make other people understand on how stuff works, how things work. I mean, at this point I think I'm just elaborating one thing again and again. or I'm just repeating stuff over and over. But I mean, the stuff itself is so complicated to understand and even to explain it to other people, or explain in such a way that every person understands it perfectly. mm, at, at this point, if you are not able to understand it, try visiting this video in any time in the future, and most probably you will be able to understand, or develop an understanding or a better understanding about this. And I think we should give a second chance to ourselves. If we have learned something, if we did not learn something and we lost on something, we did not gain enough. If we have a feeling inside ourselves telling us that we could have done better in understanding this, or learning that, and we are not able to learn it, or we are not quite satisfied with our efforts which we have put into learning it, then I think we should give it another chance. Anything, any stuff which you have learned over the time, be it engineering, be it medical, or any other thing, or arts, or anything, whichever you have done, whichever you have learned about, please try and give it another chance, and please give it another chance. And hopefully this time you will have a different take upon it, or you'll learn it in a different way than you did 3 or 4 years back before graduating. I mean, just when you enrolled, or through the entire process, things happen. And if you have quite a positive take on it, things happen to you, and these things might have good or bad in them for you. And this conclusion, the way you conclude if something is good or bad to you, depends upon how you think about it and what conclusions you draw. And I would say that please, try and learn stuff. And if you think you missed out on something, please do not be afraid to give it a second chance and understand it in the way you would understand everything. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for the podcast. Hopefully you'll find new things or new insights from it, and a new understanding about it, which may shape or reshape your perspectives and your opinions upon that particular subject, or that particular person, or anything. You can apply this logic to anything which help you learn. That's it. Try and learn, and hopefully you will find a way to understand technology better, and science as well. If you understand the science, the technology part is the easiest part of it. I wouldn't say easiest, but yeah, if you know what does what, then you will be able to replicate it in many other, just like electricity. We do know that that amount of charge, that much discharge from clouds on the ground may ignite a tree, or it can ignite a tree or ignite houses, and anywhere it strikes down, it will melt stuff, or it will ignite that stuff wherever it falls. And when we take a deeper understanding onto it, if I do it on a smaller scale, I may be able to use it. So now we have electricity everywhere, and electricity is a major reason why this mic works, the camera works, and the ceiling fan on top of my head works. And so that kind of that's what is the reason why we have developed electricity, or why we have developed a technology which works, because we are able to use air, or we are able to use other systems and make some use out of it. We are trying to replicate the same science in smaller or a larger quantity to different degrees to achieve our goals regarding the interaction between us and this world. And with interaction, everything counts, like digging into the sand. You like We are using an excavator and digging into the sand. That's also an interaction. We are physically interacting with something. In the earlier days, we used to use that using a shovel. So people used to dig using shovels. We use poles to loosen the sand, loosen the mud, and then or, I mean, shovel the mud out, then dig a hole into the ground for whatever purpose they might. I mean, this is the interaction, right? And yeah, there are different interactions. I'll not step into everything. This is just a simple example of it. So hopefully we'll also find another way to understand science, and hopefully there will be at some point of time, maybe after this century or something, where people will try and let some things go loose, those tough decisions which our ancestors couldn't. Hopefully, a lot major of people will be able to get free access to knowledge. With free access, we'll have more thinkers in the world. With more thinkers, we will have more and more stuff which is coming into the world. And actually, that would be a technological breakthrough. Look, if there is one scientist, he'll or she'll be able to do something, and there is a group of scientists. Imagine if there is a group of scientists. Imagine what they could do. And if there are millions and millions of scientists, they will find solutions for every little to big problem, every problem on this which we are facing. And they might provide us with a better solution, which even the people who make the law, or the old people, or the people who have the most experience of all, find it troublesome in deciding. We are about to reach that stage. We are trying to slowly climb up the ladder and understand things, and hopefully with the help of the elders. Yeah, there are old people who are there to help us with their experience. Hopefully, if they help us with this, I mean, that's what we are trying to do, right? However, as a younger generation, we are not sure how stuff works and how will it keep on working in the future as well. So we will at some point of time need some support, some kind of support from the elders. And hopefully, if everything goes smoothly, we will have lesser fights with the elders, and will show love and compassion and empathy to them. And in return, we may learn a lot of things. Because what I learned from my experience is, no person is truly evil in this world, or there is no malice, or there is no true malice hiding inside every person. Every person is trying to do their best into achieving their goals, and what happens is their goals kind of clash with our goals, and they kind of get little angry, and everything unfolds after that. But I think that's also a way of learning, because even when we are trying to do certain things, we are learning science, we are understanding things, and we are developing stuff, and we are doing everything. We actually sometimes, in excitement of making that a reality, turning that into a reality, we sometimes quit focus on, we do not focus on people and make it hard for them. Let's say there were technologies in previous years in the world which were developed, and those were not good for people's health, but they were developed anyways because of many reasons. Because the people who are developing, they did not know the effects, after effects of that, and there was more experimentation needed on certain things, and they did not do it. Or even though they did it, they publicized the technology anyway, because there was less care given for humans in general. Things like these work, and sometimes things like these are the only reason why technology sometimes fails, because people are more focused upon the capital gains of the technology, how much you are gaining from the technology by selling it to other people, rather not actually focusing on focusing or developing something which is much useful to everyone. So everything kind of works out here and there, and hopefully, I do have hope in human beings, and I have hope in every other being who is living on this planet. Hopefully, we'll all together work one day. We'll all get together, help each other, empower each other. And yeah, I do not find the right kind of empowerment right now, but yeah, surely sometime 50 years down the line or 70 years down the line, we will win over our mind, and we'll find better ways to make things easier for us, and make things easier for other people as well. And when that happens, I think we will be moving a step closer to the true evolution of human beings. Yeah, and also someday we'll have some person who will have a better understanding on science, and that I think would be the greatest breakthrough. Breakthrough of all in the history of science and technology, in understanding the science. And yeah, when that happens, we will have to relearn everything, and make new maps, make new stuff, understand everything from the ground, and we'll have to think on different approaches, how to explain that science, and how many of those approaches actually contribute into explaining that science the best. And That way we'll also get into a research methodology, how to think. When I try to explain about it, I kind of get a little bit excited about it, but truly it will work, and also I think it may not work sometimes. So I'm hoping that someday we'll reach that point. Hopefully, in this era itself, I want that to be a reality in the 21st century itself. I mean the 2000s, and I think that's too much to ask for. And I think we can do a lot of stuff here. We can work a lot of things up, and we can make solution for everything, and we can come up with new systems which will create a make other people happy as well, and help them earn money as well. Yeah, we'll find that gray area, and eventually everyone will start getting into that gray area. And hopefully I think that happens, and for the sake of humanity, for other people to survive and to help other people survive, to make things easier for them, someone will have to put that effort. And yeah, I am ready to put those efforts, and someday maybe, and this is a huge maybe, I might contribute into develop a better understanding on this world. And yeah, I'm not saying that I have complete understanding of everything that works on this world. I am just putting little hunches on things which I don't understand, and checking for the scientific explanations about that. And someday I'll be able to question and get those answers for different things. And hopefully when I get to have those answers, I think I'll have reached the possibility of a higher human being from the date now. So from 2025, I think years down the line, I'll get to learn about more new and new stuff, and which is more exciting. And I'll get to work on new stuff and develop new stuff. That stuff can be anything, but yeah, I want to contribute to making things better, or make things better for other people. Because I myself, when I tried learning, I missed out on a lot of stuff, and to this day I even wonder that did I do a great job learning in learning as a human being and also as an engineer. But I what I realized is learning never ends. So with your life, learning will never end. Even if I'm in my 60s, I would say I'm still learning. That kind of thing is a thing which keeps us going again and again. I think that's it for the podcast, and I'll meet you in another podcast, hopefully in the future. Peace out. Bye bye.